women really care about are economic issues. And when I listen to my wife, that's what I'm hearing. Guess what? His wife has actually never worked a day in her life. She's never really dealt with the kinds of economic issues that a majority of the women in this country are facing in terms of how do we feed our kids, how do we send them to school.
Oh boy, did that set off a firestorm in the Twitter universe and all over television. Hillary Rosen tried to clarify the context of those remarks earlier this morning. We're going to show you what she said in that case, and we're very pleased to be joined by Ann Romney this morning. Good morning, Mrs. Romney. Good to have you with us.
Thanks, Martha.
You know, I'm just curious on a personal level, because I know, how it can feel when these kinds of things are said. What was your personal gut reaction when you heard her say those words?
She should have come to my house when those 5 boys were causing so much trouble. It wasn't so easy.
No, indeed, I'm sure it wasn't. And we've had a ton of people tweeting the show this morning when they heard that you were on, basically telling similar stories. And anybody, I guess, who's a mom knows what it's like to actually have to do all of that hard work at home. But, I'm curious, your son Josh also tweeted about this. And he said, my mom could have done anything she wanted in her life, and she chose to stay home and raise me. And I thought that was, very interesting and very kind, of course, coming from him this morning. But you did have a lot of choices. And why did you make the decision that you did at that point in your life?
This is what's so interesting about this. My career choice was to be a mother. And I think all of us need to know that we need to respect choices that women make. Other women make other choices to have a career and raise family, which I think Hillary Rosen has actually done herself. I respect that. That's wonderful. But, there are other people that have a choice. We have to respect women in all those choices that they make. And, by the way, let me give a shout out to all the dads that are at home raising kids. This is obviously an awesome responsibility to raise children. It's, to me, the most important thing we can do. I will tell you that Mitt said to me more times than you would imagine, and your job is more important than mine. He was making money and doing the things, raising funds and investing and helping other companies. And he would come home and say, Ann, your job is more important than mine. He would say, my job is temporary. I know that these things come and go, but your job is a forever job that's going to bring forever happess. So, he had perspective on this. And by the way, Mitt respects women that make those different choices. He had a lot of women in his life that have been his advisors, that he listens to a lot of different women. And if I get a chance, I want to tell you what women are telling me. And Hillary needs to know this, because I've been on the campaign trail for 1 year. And guess what women are talking about? And I don't care if they're stay-at-home moms or they're working mothers or they're grandmothers. Guess what they're all talking about? They're talking about jobs, and they're talking about the legacy of debt that we're leaving our children. That's what I'm hearing, and that's what we're talking about here.
Let's take a look at what she said this morning, because she went back on television to respond to this, because she's getting a lot of heat, as you might imagine. And here's what she said this morning. Let's watch.
This is not about Ann Romney. This is about the waitress in a diner in, someplace in Nevada who has 2 kids whose daycare funding is being cut off because of the Romney-Ryan budget, and she doesn't know what to do. This isn't about whether Ann Romney or I or other women of, some means can afford to make a choice to stay home and raise kids. Most women in America, let's face it, don't have that choice.
This goes back to the sort of rich argument that has been leveled so much against you and your husband. Basically, she's saying, well, Ann Romney could have chosen to do anything she wanted, and Ann Romney can't relate to women who have no choice, who have to work and also raise their families.
Look, I know what it's like to struggle. And if maybe I haven't struggled as much financially as some people have, I can tell you and promise you that I've had struggles in my life. And I would love to have people understand that Mitt and I have compassion for people that are struggling. And that's why we're running. We care about those people that are struggling. And we also recognize that this economic recovery has been very weak. We also recognize that the debt burdens that we're facing in this country are huge and are going to be a huge problem for our children. That's what I'm hearing when I go out there, is that women are talking about economic issues, and they're talking about the security of their own jobs, the security of their husbands' jobs. They're worried that maybe some of them come to me and say, my son is living back with me. He's a graduate from college, and he's back in the house. These are the things I'm hearing about, and we are recognizing that there's been a very tepid recovery, and people are worried about their jobs, their job security, and beyond that, I hear so much about how worried they are about the legacy of debt we're going to leave our children.